Hello and welcome back to Director's Choice, where we take a deep dive into the work of some of the most talented directors in the film industry. In this episode, we'll be exploring the third installment in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, Spider-Man 3. This film was highly anticipated following the success of the first two movies, but received mixed reviews from critics and audiences alike. However, there is much more to this movie than meets the eye, and we're excited to explore some of the hidden themes and theories that make this film so fascinating. Before we dive into the film itself, let's take a quick look at the background of Spider-Man 3. This movie was released in 2007 and was directed by Sam Raimi, who had previously directed the first two movies in the franchise. The film stars Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane Watson, and James Franco as Harry Osborn. The film was a commercial success, but received mixed reviews from critics. The film opens with Peter Parker living his life as Spider-Man and enjoying his relationship with Mary Jane Watson. Meanwhile, an escaped convict named Flint Marko falls into a particle accelerator and becomes the Sandman, a villain with the ability to transform his body into sand. Harry Osborn, the son of the late Norman Osborn, becomes the new Goblin and seeks revenge against Peter for his father's death. Peter also encounters a mysterious black substance, which attaches itself to his suit and enhances his powers, but also amplifies his dark side. This leads to Peter becoming more aggressive and arrogant, leading him to mistreat Mary Jane and engage in a rivalry with his friend and photographer Eddie Brock, who also seeks to become the new Spider-Man. As Peter becomes consumed by his own darkness, he eventually discovers that the Sandman was responsible for the death of his Uncle Ben, leading to a final showdown between the two. Meanwhile, Harry teams up with Peter to take down the Sandman, but ultimately dies after reconciling with Peter. Now that we've covered the plot of the film, let's take a closer look at some of the main characters. Peter Parker, Spider-Man, as the film's protagonist. Peter Parker is a complex character who struggles with a range of personal and professional challenges throughout the film. His internal conflict between his desire for fame and his sense of responsibility as a hero is a central theme of the movie. Peter is portrayed as a flawed but sympathetic character who ultimately learns the importance of forgiveness and self-sacrifice. Mary Jane Watson, Peter's love interest and aspiring actress, Mary Jane Watson, also faces a range of challenges in the film. She struggles with her career and personal life and feels overshadowed by Peter's success as Spider-Man. Mary Jane's relationship with Peter is strained by his arrogance and selfishness, but she ultimately forgives him and helps him defeat the villains. Harry Osborn, New Goblin. Harry Osborn, Peter's former best friend, becomes the new Goblin after discovering that his father was the original Green Goblin and seeking revenge against Peter for his father's death. Harry's transformation into the new Goblin is presented as a tragic descent into darkness, and his eventual redemption and sacrifice is a powerful moment in the film. Flint Marko, Sandman. Flint Marko is a former criminal who becomes the Sandman after falling into a particle accelerator during a prison break. His transformation into the Sandman is presented as a tragic accident rather than a deliberate choice, and his motives for turning to a life of crime are portrayed as understandable and even noble. Eddie Brock, Venom. Eddie Brock is a photographer who competes with Peter for a staff position at the Daily Bugle and becomes the villain Venom after bonding with the same black substance that influenced Peter. Eddie is presented as a darker and more twisted version of Peter, consumed by envy and ambition, and his eventual defeat is a powerful moment in the film. Overall, the characters in Spider-Man 3 are complex and multi-layered, with their own motivations, flaws, and struggles. The film's exploration of duality and the dark side of heroism is reflected in its portrayal of these characters, and their eventual redemption and sacrifice is a powerful message about the importance of forgiveness and selflessness. Now that we've covered the plot and characters of the film, let's take a look at some of the interesting theories and interpretations of Spider-Man 3. One theory is that the film's portrayal of Peter Parker's dark side was influenced by the popularity of the comic book storyline. Spider-Man, the other, in which Peter is infected with a venomous virus that amplifies his powers and causes him to embrace his more aggressive and violent tendencies. Some fans have speculated that the inclusion of Venom in the film was a response to the success of the Batman franchise, particularly Christopher Nolan's dark and gritty take on the character. Venom is portrayed as a darker, more violent version of Spider-Man, with a menacing, snarling voice and a more intimidating appearance than the other villains in the film. Some fans have suggested that the studio was attempting to capitalize on the success of Nolan's films by introducing a darker and edgier version of Spider-Man's nemesis. Another theory is that the film's portrayal of Sandman was intended as a commentary on the War on Terror and the treatment of prisoners at Guantanamo Bay. Flint Marko is depicted as a sympathetic character who is transformed into a monster against his will, and his motives for turning to a life of crime are presented as understandable and even noble. Some viewers have suggested that the film's portrayal of Sandman reflects a more nuanced and sympathetic view of villains than previous superhero movies. Another theory, some fans have speculated that the film's mixed reception may have been influenced by studio interference and behind-the-scenes drama. There have been rumors that the studio pressured Sam Raimi to include certain characters or storylines, and that the director had conflicts with the studio over the direction of the franchise. Some fans have suggested that the film's uneven tone and messy plot may be a result of these behind-the-scenes struggles. Some fans have speculated that the film's portrayal of Peter Parker's relationship with Mary Jane was influenced by Sam Raimi's own experiences as a filmmaker. Raimi has spoken in interviews about the challenges of balancing personal relationships with a demanding career in the film industry. Some fans have suggested that the film's portrayal of Mary Jane's struggles as an actress and Peter's difficulty balancing his dual identities reflects this personal perspective. Another theory is that the film's use of the black substance and its influence on Peter's behavior was intended as a metaphor for drug addiction. Some viewers have noted that the black substance's ability to enhance Peter's powers while also amplifying his negative emotions and aggressive tendencies is similar to the effects of certain drugs. That Peter's eventual decision to reject the substance and overcome his addiction is a powerful message about the dangers of substance abuse. Some fans have speculated that the film's portrayal of Eddie Brock as Venom was a commentary on the toxic culture of competition in the workplace. Eddie is depicted as a rival of Peter's at the Daily Bugle, and his desire to become the new Spider-Man is presented as a twisted form of ambition and envy. Some viewers have suggested that the film's portrayal of Eddie reflects a critique of the cutthroat nature of the modern workplace and the destructive effects of excessive competition and individualism. Finally, some fans have suggested that the film's portrayal of Harry Osborn's redemption and sacrifice reflects Sam Raimi's own spiritual beliefs. Raimi is known for his Christian faith, and some viewers have noted that the film's themes of forgiveness and self-sacrifice reflect a Christian perspective on redemption and the power of love. Some have even suggested that Harry's sacrifice in the film is a metaphor for the sacrificial love of Jesus Christ, and that Raimi's faith is an underlying influence on the film's themes and messages. So, there you have it, our exploration of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. While the film may have received mixed reviews, there is no denying that it's a complex and intriguing addition to the Spider-Man franchise. From the film's portrayal of duality and the dangers of giving into one's darker impulses, to its commentary on celebrity culture and the war on terror, Spider-Man 3 offers a lot to unpack and interpret. Thanks for joining us on Director's Choice, and we'll see you next time.